Welcome to The Valley's Voice, Arizona Live's Legal Truths.
Hello and welcome to The Valley's Voice, Arizona Lives and Legal Truths. I'm your host, Travis Meltzer, founder and managing attorney at Valley Injury Law. Today on The Valley's Voice, we're joined by Logan Rose, the Scottsdale native who transformed backyard wiffleball games into big league wiffleball, a fast-growing celebrity-backed league now hosting tournaments at Scottsdale Stadium and lighting up social feeds nationwide. What began as a pandemic hobby evolved into a full-scale venture, thanks sponsorship calls between college classes, media rights deals before homework, and a Forbes 30 under 30 nod before the age of 20. Logan's story blends Valley baseball culture, entrepreneurial hustle, and a mission to keep sports playful, creative, and inclusive. Stick around as we dive into how a plastic ball turned into big league dreams, the community that powers BLW's rise, and the lessons Logan's learned about leading with passion and a little desert grit. Logan, thank you so much for coming, man.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me. I'm really excited for this.
Well, good. Well, hopefully live up to the expectations, but thank you so much, man. Well, you grew up in Scottsdale. What are your earliest memories of playing wiffle ball here in the Valley?
Yeah, I always, I've played baseball my whole life, so I always start there when I tell this story. And really, I think like a lot of other kids, wiffle ball is just a way to practice for baseball, and I would do that in my backyard. So that's really the earliest memories of me doing it, and that's kind of how it continued on.
No, and I think that's probably the most relatable thing about wiffle ball as a sport or as an offshoot of baseball. Because I agree. I mean, I remember the memories of using my parents' balcony as the home run, the home run fence. So it's it's incredible to see it as a professional sport. And you started, well, we say that you started big league wiffle ball, in your late teens, but really, I mean, I think in reading in our conversations, you did actually started at about 13. So what did the very first league look like in your backyard?
Yeah, so that was actually during the COVID pandemic. And that was me, my brother, my cousin, and some buddies that we just kind of found from around and guys who wanted to do something during those couple of months. And yeah, I mean, it was in our backyard. We played on, I think we played for 2 months, brutal heat as always in the summer. And we posted it all on social. The graphics were pretty bad, videos were pretty bad, but we really enjoyed it and had a good time. And that was the first kind of rendition. And we were terrible at the time too, but we just loved it so much, so we kept building.
Yeah, and honestly, and I mean, you're learning, I feel like day by day, and I'm even learning, passion and as much as you care about something, I feel like audiences or people or possible customers or sponsors see it. And, I think for me, that's what drew me to you guys and what really drew us to Big League Wiffle Ball. And so tell me, the moment you realized that this could be bigger than just you and your buddies and cousins playing in your backyard.
I would say there were two. The first being, you mentioned this in the beginning, but we hosted a tournament at Scottsdale Stadium, and that's not really a one moment thing. That kind of grew over the past 5 to 6 years we've hosted it. So I wouldn't say that was the defining moment. I would say in 2024, we got a call from the Cowboys saying, would you like to play at AT&T Stadium? And that was kind of, we had already planned some really cool stuff for 2024 and launching this sort of test case league. But, that kind of topped it off. And then we were like, we kind of got to run with this.
Yeah. Well, no, that's amazing. So tell me a little bit more about that. I'm not getting calls from sports teams every day just to come hang out at their stadium. I know I work in a slightly different field, but how does that come to? Do their people reach out to you, or how did that all happen?
Yeah, it was just a random email, and honestly, like at the time, I didn't really believe it, so I researched the guy and all checked out. Had a little logo at the bottom, and I was kind of like, all right, here we go. So, couldn't pass up that opportunity, and I think that's really helpful for just investors getting into our league and people who want some sort of confirmation of just really like reassurance of professionalism. You could say you've been to AT&T Stadium, and that's pretty legit.
Yeah. No, absolutely. No, that's amazing. And honestly, it shows the power of social media, especially when it comes to your sport and what you guys are really pushing. And with that, with your power in social media and your social media prowess, I would even say, you have gathered up quite the what's the best way to put it? A book of celebrity team owners with this, these first years, including Costner, Gary Vaynerchuk, and others. How did you convince such reputable and such recognizable people to join the Wiffleball League?
I would really say it was a snowball effect. So once we got one guy, it all kind of fell into place. If this guy's doing it, I know I'm going to do it. And a lot of these guys are big believers in sort of emerging sports leagues. So that's probably the biggest thing. I know Gary's invested in several of other, you know, up and coming competing leagues and that kind of thing. And he loves the idea of these niche sports and alternative sports where he thinks entertainment's gonna really pivot to. So I would say it was primarily one guy got in, everyone else kind of followed, and it just like multiplied from there.
Yeah, it's that domino effect where you can go to future investors and say, "Hey, Gary V's investing, Kevin Costner's investing, why can't you guys?" And that's quite the negotiation leverage. And we all know with people with money like competing with each other, and we're all competitive, so completely makes sense. When leading into the league, and so you know, with that came some reputability and really pushed you and candidly landed you on the 30 under 30 list at I think you were what 19, 18 at the time when you were named on that list. And so how has that recognition really changed daily life, or has it added any pressure to you?
Honestly, it hasn't really changed daily life in my opinion. I think it was a unbelievable thing to be able to say and just accomplishment. I remember I applied for it just after getting, I think I got a notice that I was nominated, and you fill out a couple of things, and uh, I got the notice that hey, it's coming out tomorrow or whatever, so make sure you're ready. So I started reading through that, and it's a bunch of Cardinals, Suns players, these big names that I look up to. I'm like, okay, I kind of see what this is, and I've never been that shocked in my life. I think that was, it was amazing, and I think that was a big moment to not just for me, but primarily for the league. I think, um, because that's really a reflection of what it was. So, no, I was so beyond excited and grateful, but it hasn't really changed day to day life, in my opinion.
No, it's amazing. I mean, have you felt any additional pressure, have to live up to that for you?
Honestly, no. Like being one of the younger guys on there, I think it it's just I don't really know how to describe it, but it's just when you have guys like a Jalen Green or Trey McBride and these Valley superstars on that list, I feel like those are celebrities to me. So I don't feel like there's pressure. I feel like it's really the opposite in that regard.
So it's funny that you say that. I completely agree. I think when, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's Trey McBride, half the Suns starting lineup, it seemed like, and Logan Rose. So
Yeah.
I completely get, and it's amazing to see your name next to those people. But yeah, I think you're right. I think you end up kind of being pulled up to them as opposed to the opposite. So I agree. It's a benefit for you for sure. And so, as you are still, I think 19, I mean, you're balancing college, right? And I joke that I don't know if we talked about this before, but I mean, when I was in college, I sure as hell wasn't running a league of any sorts. I was happy enough to get enough friends to join my slow pitch softball team, let alone a professional wiffle ball league. So, you know, while you're simultaneously a college student and running this league, any hacks or tips for managing classes, travel, and then sponsorship calls for any future entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's difficult. I'm not gonna lie on that. I think first semester was really a wake up call, and I was traveling on the weekends to go host tournaments and all of that, and it's a lot of fun. You get to, at least in my opinion, and in my case, I got to see family and friends otherwise wouldn't have seen outside of college. But obviously, you miss out on some stuff here as well, and it's a balancing act, and I would really say it just teaches you really good time management. So, I'm planning out the days, not just for the next day, but for the day ahead, and kind of have that in the back of your mind as you go throughout everything. Um, Really forces you to, be just timely with every little detail, I'd say. And uh, I think that's a great skill to have. I think college teaches you that regardless, but, when it's something like this, it's a little more. And, it also, I will say, one of the benefits is uh, I do feel like I have to get my schoolwork done. Like, I used to be a pretty big procrastinator, but that just doesn't work. You can't have that much buildup. So that's honestly been a really good thing.
No, absolutely. I mean, I wish I had the time management skills I do right now at 19. So I could imagine how much I would have got done if I was good at managing time at that age. But no, you're absolutely right. I think without time management, it's very easy to get buried in any part of your life, whether it's school or running a business or family and friends. So
Mhm.
no, that's great. And for anyone listening out there, I completely agree. And I wish I would have known that a hell of a lot sooner. So, but yeah, so I mean, now with, you're running the business, you're in school, but you're still you, right? So when you're able to breathe, when you're not on the, on the Whiffleball diamond or at school, where do you go? Like, where's your go-to Valley hangout? Where do you like to kind of just take a breather here in Arizona?
Yeah, so I'll say on that, honestly, outside of wiffle ball is kind of my getaway in some regard, which is nice and it's also stressful at times. But I'm out in Dallas now, unfortunately. So, that's where I go to school, and I found like how special Arizona is and Scottsdale and the rest of the valley just because of missing it. So when you go back, I was just back for a week, and you got to hit all the good spots and that kind of thing. So for me, it's really just going out to a nice lunch or dinner. There's some signature spots that I think I went to growing up, whether it's an arcade or, a mini golf place and that kind of thing. So, uh, that's kind of what I miss, and I really have found very valuable.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, me not originally being from Arizona, but coming, going to Las Vegas where I'm from, to come back here, you tend to forget how much there is to do here and how
Yeah.
despite the heat, really every day you can always find something to do. And that's not a common feature in a lot of cities. So, no, that's great. And so, looking down the road for you, as a student, but also as the owner in, Pro Football League, what's your look, what's your outlook for Big League Wiffle, national TV, international tournaments, kind of what are we going to see in the, next 5 years for Big League Wiffle?
Yeah, I'll start with what the plan is this summer, which we are stoked about, and we could, like I said, not be more excited about. So we'll be at a set venue this summer. We've announced it. We're going to be on ESPN Plus, and we're talking with some other partners on potential deals, and really just have sort of that official league rather than a tournament circuit where we're at a set place throughout the summer. It's a great capacity, about 500 seats, and it's sort of that, up and coming, unique baseball feel that a lot of people, not Savannah Bananas, but not MLB, sort of somewhere in the middle, which we're really excited about. So that's kind of the next big step. And then in terms of, a 5-year window, uh, I don't like to compare us to pickleball. I think it's a little out of the realm, and obviously pickleball's blown up. So I think, that's more of a 10, 15-year dream scenario, but
Yeah.
I think we're also very different in some regard. Um, so I would say, sort of take a chunk out of that and kind of go in our own direction. So not really follow the pickleball, but, take a chunk, pivot a little bit.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea, and especially, a path to follow given, I hate to call it alternative sports, but kind of, right? But following the path of pickleball to see how it just exploded, especially when it comes to infrastructure. I mean, you see it here in Arizona where they've converted thousands of tennis courts into pickleball courts, as opposed to building out new infrastructure. So yeah, I would love to see that, and especially for us has-beens in baseball, for like myself, I would love to have that opportunity, and that's great. And honestly, so that thought kind of brings me to a new question. One thing I really love about at least where Big League Wiffle is now, that you have you have open spots where teams can join tournaments, you can get friends. Um, Let us know a little bit more about that, where there is the competitive and the professional teams, but anybody listening can put together a team and potentially join the league.
Yeah, so the way this year was structured was we really had four tournaments throughout the country. And like you said, there was a pro division, but also a rec division at each tournament. And that'll be the way it is moving forward in our off season, really. So if you sign up for an event, you'll get the option to sign up and actually join the pro division and compete against our 10 professional teams, which a lot of people like to take on that challenge. Or you can sign up and hop in the rec division, and that's still pretty legit as well. I think a lot of people think that's slow pitch, and it is to some capacity, but for the most part, it's youth baseball players, other teams who don't want to take on the pros, and you'll see families, businesses out there, and that's honestly our biggest division at all of our events. So I'm always excited to see how that goes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was one of the things that I really enjoyed looking at the events that you guys run, where you see the professionals. Well, yes, we play baseball, but can I compete with those professionals? Probably not. I've been in a little bit, but to have the option to at least, you know, ha- try or have the chance to play and potentially, grow into a team that is competing with the professional teams, which is great. So moving forward in the league, I know there are other wiffle ball leagues that you see pop up on social media. Have you had any discussions with them about cross promoting or cross competing with your teams? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, like we just want to grow the sport. So there have definitely been talks. I think a lot of uh, the leagues in the sport kind of have different identities, and that's what I'll say. I think sort of the target audience would be the main difference maker there. Uh, but with that, I think our ownership model is unique and is not something you really see in not only wiffle but really any major sports league, which I think is awesome. And I'd put up that group against, like I said, any alternative sports league group, and with that, you've so much potential. So, uh, yeah, like I said, we all have the same common goal of growing the game, and I don't think anyone's at the point or place where you can kind of step on toes because it's not an established sport. So, no.
No, yeah, no, absolutely. And I'd love to see it grow. And I think what beyond the ownership group, but just the play of your league really differentiates yourself from those others. Specifically, what I like seeing is that there's no speed limit. I love that part of it. Um, because I know in some of the other leagues there's a cap, whereas your league there isn't one, where you're seeing these guys throw 90s, at wiffle ball.
Mhm.
So now it's incredible, and I love seeing the sport grow. Um, Now I had one other question, and then we'll do what I like doing a quick round, just kind of hear what you think. But with the big league wiffle, I know that you guys, especially with the teams, you now run merch, media rights, multiple city events. Which revenue stream surprised you the most? If you could look back on the Logan that was starting this in your parents' backyard, which one really has hit you and saying, what, this is real, this is really happening.
It's a great question. I really think, I think we're still gonna find out over the next couple of years. But as of now, I really do think merchandise has shocked me because we're not, at least from my perspective, I think we could do a lot better of a job in, character branding and getting personalities from the league. And partially that's because we've been around for 1 year, essentially, this new startup league. So it's hard to do that. But within that first year, to have, it's not even a full on decked out shop yet, and it's done a pretty good job. So, I've been really impressed with that, and I think that's a huge opportunity moving forward for our company to grow.
Yeah. No, agreed. And I think the branding that you guys have done with the teams that are currently part of the league, I think is great because a lot of them do take local flavor from the cities that they represent. And I can really appreciate that. So yeah, so before I let you go, Logan, I'll do a quick fire round just to kind of see I don't know, just what you think. So what's your favorite ballpark snack?
I'll put hot dog for sure.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think I would have ended the interview if it was anything else. I would have been a little disappointed. um, best wiffle ball pitch to learn first.
I feel like it's just got to be a standard riser. That's typically the most fun.
Yeah, and it screws with people, so it's always nice. Go to hype song before a big game or a meeting.
I'm a little different. I just go in there and I don't really listen to music, so I don't
That's
know that
all,
I
yeah.
could answer that. But if I had to say something, I'd probably go something basic like a Enter Sandman or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, just dig into that bucket for you. Um, so Logan, what's one Valley restaurant you'd recommend to every visitor?
I think this is pretty niche, but Lamp Pizzeria up in North Scottsdale is really good.
Completely agree. I would highly recommend that place. Um, let's see. So, what's a most memorable fan comment you've heard this season?
Most memorable fan comment. So actually, funny enough, yesterday is going to be my favorite. I was in a collared shirt, and so I wasn't in a jersey or anything, so I don't think people recognized me. And we were doing a segment at the Rockies game, and I went to go pick up a ball or get a shot for the Instagram, and this kid walks by and he goes, "I swear I know that guy," and I kind of overheard him, and he was talking about one of our guys in the jersey, and it was pretty funny. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to see all your hard work to kind of just reach someone, and that that you've had no personal interaction with is awesome. And then, if you could invite any pro athlete for a big league wiffle cameo, who's the first call?
It's got to be a baseball player. I feel like Shohei Ohtani is the obvious choice. So
Yeah.
I would love
No,
to see how that would go.
yeah, it'd be amazing. And then, last but not least, in 3 words, describe the future of big league wiffle ball.
Bigger and better. I like
You
that.
know. Logan, thanks for stepping up to the mic and showing us how passion, creativity, and a bit of valley grit can turn a backyard game into a big league movement. Your story reminds us that sport, no matter the size of the ball, can build community and spark joy. Listeners, if today's chat inspired you, check out Big League Wiffle Ball online or catch an upcoming game at Scottsdale Stadium or nationwide at this point to see the magic for yourself. Until next time, keep swinging for the fences. And remember, if you've been in an accident, visit azvalleyinjurylaw.com or find us on Instagram at Valley Injury Law. You can also find our amazing guest, Logan's creation, and all the amazing things Big League Wiffle is doing on Instagram at BLW Wiffleball. And be sure to like, subscribe, and leave a review if you've enjoyed today's episode. We appreciate you all joining us on The Valley's Voice.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.